I joined the Navy in October 1963 and I left in May 1979. I was in supply and one of my jobs was to look after the rum in the Royal Navy. But that of course only lasted until the 31st of July 1970, a date of which I'll come back to you later on. So basically these are some of the tools of my trade when I was issuing rum. A brief rundown of what the issue used to consist of. The measure was half a gill of neat rum per man per day. Now a half a gill is probably equivalent to a pub treble nowadays, and naturally every man on the ship, we didn't have women on board ships in those days, every man on the ship wanted to neck as much rum as they possibly could, every lunchtime without fail. Up spirits was 11:30, rum was issued from 11:30 onwards, so that people who had the afternoon watch from 12 till 4 could get their rum before they went on watch. And then it was on to about 12:30, so the people that were on the forwarding watch from 8 till midday could have their rum between 12 and 1:30. It started off, all rum issue had to be supervised by an officer. Officers were not entitled to the rum issue, only the lower deck, only ratings were allowed rum. Senior rates had, chiefs and POs had neat rum, junior rates had what they called grog, which was a mixture of 1 part rum, 2 parts water, mainly because you can't keep it, it spoils. Neat rum you could keep, hence the reason I have some. Right, so the officer of the day would come down. They hated the rum issue, mainly because they weren't entitled to any rum, and secondly because they sat there for an hour and a half not knowing what was going on and just got totally bored. So they used to send the midshipman down, who was called a snotty. They used to send the snotty down because the midshipman had even less of a clue what was going on than the officer of the day. So small ships, frigates if you like, minesweepers, they used to get their rum on board. Oops, I've got to move around a bit here. In gallon jars like that. Okay, so let's get their rum in gallon jars and then issue the rum out of that. Larger ships would, aircraft carriers, cruisers and the like, will get their rum in firkins. Now a firkin is 9 gallons, 55 litres, and then the big shore establishments will get it in killikins, which was 18 gallons or 110 litres. 2 more measures on top of that were a barrel, which was 36 gallons, and a hogshead, which is 54 gallons, but they were mainly for dockyard storage. Okay, so our spirits would be piped, 11:30, well usually about 11 o'clock, you had to fill and fanny around in the spirit room for a bit first. Ready to issue the rum about 11:30, so if you were issuing it out of barrels, then you would use a rum pump to get the rum up out of the barrels into stand still. Gallon jugs. Okay? Rum, barrel, gallon jug. Sorted. Obviously the numbers that you got were dictated to you by either the coxswain or the master at arms about 9:30 in the morning, so you had men who were drawing rum for that day. So that was the issue out of the barrel as well. Senior rates who were getting neat rum would get it issued direct, neat from the spirit room. Junior rates, the rum would go to a central issuing point, where on smaller ships, rum would be issued to the messes in rum fannies. On larger ships, it would come out of a rum tub. This is only a small one, but it is a real one, it's only a smaller one. They had bigger ones for aircraft carriers and the like.
Question.
Yeah.
So, if you didn't have your container and you had to borrow someone else's, you'd shout across the ship, "Can I borrow your
Never
farming,
happened.
please?"
Never happened. No. These things were like sacrosanct. This isn't polished, but these used to be very highly polished, but only on the outside. On the inside, you got a thick scum of brown old rum in there. Anybody ever cleaned that, they were thrown over the side. You know, it was supposed to add additional flavour and that to the rum.
It's like a teapot, isn't it? Like you're not supposed to wash a teapot.
Yeah. Okay, so as I say, the senior rates would take their neat rum to their messes, and they get issued their neat rum. And for neat rum, you used lipped measures. That's half a gill, so that's what the senior rates would get in neat rum. That's 1.5 gills. That's what the junior rates would get in a mixture of rum and water. Okay. Yeah, well, it's almost half a pint, you know. And as I said, the main thing you wanted to do was go around and get hold of as much as you possibly could. Rum on board ship was a currency, and there was a degree of favours, you know, so you'd have very small favour, wet your lips, and that you were not allowed to do anything except wet your lips from the guy's glass who was offering you their rum. Then you'd have sippers, a little bit bigger favour, but not that big, so you were only allowed to sip out of his glass of rum. You'd have gulpers, so you could have a slurp out of his rum, so to speak, for a bigger favour. Then you get to like a quarter of a tot, and then half a tot was a really big favour, and then a whole tot of rum, you got something called, you'd done a duty for him, you know, an overnight duty for him or something like that, a big favour. So rum was a big currency on board ship. Of course, once you'd got to the stage where you'd drunk as much rum as you could possibly get hold of during the course of the rum issue, you then went back to work afterwards and worked on nuclear missiles, torpedoes, guns, electrical switchboards, anything like that, you know. So it's not surprising really that in December 1969 Admiralty issued a signal to say that they were going to stop the rum issue with effect from the 1st of August 1970. 31st of July 1970, approximately 11:30 AM, was the last issue of rum in the Royal Navy. So next year, in fact, is the 50th anniversary of the stoppage of rum in the Navy. And we're celebrating my next ship's reunion in April next year, where we've actually purchased a gallon of rum. You can still buy gallons of rum like this. When the rum was discontinued, obviously there was a lot left in all the dockyards around the UK. We had quite a few dockyards at that time. Chatham, Devonport, Plymouth, Rosyth, all over, you know. Most of them are finished now. They sold a lot of the gallon jars of rum to a consortium who shipped it all out to Gibraltar, where they could sell it duty free, because obviously Gibraltar's duty free. Oh, guess who'll be there on Saturday? Me. And it was, at the time, it was £8 a gallon to buy, and £64 customs if you bought it back to the UK. That was in the very early 70s, mid-70s. Now, if you're really lucky, and you actually find a gallon at auction anywhere, it's all sealed, so you know whether it's genuine or not. £1,000 a gallon? £1,000 a gallon. So you know what to get me for my next birthday present, yeah?
A tot of rum.
I'm not sure how much else you want me to tell you about rum. That's sort of it, really.
Just pour some out.
Any
was
questions?
It the same kind of rum? Was it always like a white?
Okay, the mix was the victualling yard that used to do the rum was Royal Victoria Yard, which was in Deptford, and basically that didn't close till 1961. After that, the rum blending moved to other dockyards, but it was about, obviously each blend was slightly different in percentages. The blend was about 60% Trinidadian rum, 60% Demerara rum, which is from the Demerara River Valley, and it gives the rum that dark treacly flavour. Demerara is Honduras now. I think it's Honduras called now, isn't it? No, Guyana. No, Guyana. My mistake. There's about 30% Trinidadian rum, We had about 10% mix of either South African and or Australian rums. So it's quite a blend, obviously all from the Commonwealth at that time. Still is, in fact. British Navy finished the issue 31st July 1970, along with the Canadians did as well, as did the Australians. The South Africans didn't finish their rim issue until later in the 70s, about 1976 from memory. New Zealand was the very last place to stop issuing rum, and they were issuing rum to their Navy right the way through to 1992. I wish I'd have joined the Royal New Zealand Navy. Okay, anything? Oh, Fanny, right. You may think it's a strange name. There was a certain lady of ill repute used to run around the UK by the name of Fanny Adams, and she was brutally murdered, and it was alleged that she was chopped up and cooked up in these what are kitchen galley boilers for the kitchen and issued to the fleet. So these were Fanny containers, and they've always been known as Fannies ever since. That's the reason why they're called Fannies. Yeah. So that was the story. It's obviously all made up. So yeah, it was a sad day in the Navy when it went out, but you could see the reasons for it, obviously. That's as much as I want to do, unless you've got any questions or anything, yeah? Happy to ask, happy to answer any questions. No, Nelson was shipped back from the Battle of Trafalgar in a barrel of French brandy, yeah.
God.
Ironically. Well, I can do, actually I'll show you, I can show you one or two tricks we used to use when we were issuing the rum.
How do you used to use the pump? Or is that just like a question?
Sorry?
Like
yeah, like that.
Oh, okay.
But it's got a non-return valve at the bottom.
Yeah.
So, perish the thought that anybody in the supply branch would ever do this, but you could actually fill the pump up, leave it in the pump with the non-return valve on it, take it outside the spirit room, and then you had access to a pump full of rum. Or, what else do you know? Stealing from ship's stores is called manoeuvring. These jars, when I was stationed up at Broady, I was rum bosun there for 2 years, and I used to open one of these up we didn't issue everybody with a tot of rum. Some people didn't come and collect what they were due. So I used to take a gallon up each day, open, so I could top up if we ran short, because you sort of worked out 50 people aren't going to turn up, so we'll make the full issue proper, we'll keep it sort of 50 short. Like they do on aircraft seats, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So what you do in the spirit room is you'd open one, these are sealed, obviously, and corked. You'd open one, take it up, take it back to the spirit room if it wasn't used, leave it there, and put it with all the empties. And then when you took the empties out of the spirit room, you'd take the full one as well, and leave it with the empties and go back and collect the gallon of rum a bit later on. Not that I ever did that
So
kind
you
of
had
thing.
plenty, you always had plenty of currency.
Say again?
You always had plenty of currency.
I wasn't in supply for nothing. Right, we've got some rum punch here, which I'll show you how the issue went. There were one or two tricks we could pull. This is a Bakelite measure. This is what they used to use down in the messes. There's not many of these around. You can buy these measures fairly easily. But these Bakelite ones, they just got thrown away. After the rubbish had finished, they just got thrown away. There are very few of these around. But what you do is, this is a proper measure. My hands are clean. Right, that's a proper measure. That's what you get each day. There's two of one. This is the measure you give to your mate. So that's the measure you give to your mate.
Completely full of rum.
Yeah.
Neat drum.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, use the measure.
And this is the measure you give to the bloke. This is the measure you give to the bloke who pissed you off. Slightly smaller, but finger in, you know. There you go. My hands are clean, I hasten to add.
I'm not. I don't get it.
So that was absolutely was drum.
No, that was a mixture of water and rum. Right, now what we're going to do now is everybody's going to get a glass of this, but you need your top card, and it's going to be stamped. If you look at the dates on it, it's dated from the 24th of July 1970. And the last day of issue is the 31st, which my ticker-offerer is going to tick you off with. Ticker-offerer is a very important job. You had to make sure that the right people went through and that the wrong people didn't go through. So you had a ticker-offerer standing by the rum tap all the time. But one of the perks was you got a sip of rum off everybody that drew their rum. Okay, so come on, ticker-offerer, you've got to tick people off.
Your punch thing.
Yes, no,
Come on.
there you go.
Go on, I'll do it.
When they come up, okay? You know which day to do, don't you? Right.
So do you drink like light rum or dark rum?
Do I drink light rum?
Well, like was it? Or was it ever?
Navy rum was a dark rum.
Okay.
If you want to talk favourite rums,
Oh, what am I going?
yeah, my ticker offer has got to do a job. Otherwise, you won't get a reward for neat rum.
You're like, yeah, I can never
Thank you.
taste that.
Yeah.
You don't need that.
Thank you. Is it appropriate?
I don't know what's in this rum punch, I never made it.
Next.
No, lads used to have this coffee check where at the end of every night. Well, at the end of every night out, I should say. We used to drink a pint of neat rum. It wasn't a real party trick, we used to trick people.
So did you have to drink it, or did you sort of fill the bottle and take it to the front anyway?
The watered down rum, the grog, you can't save. But the neat rum you can save.
Yeah.
Not legally, but you can
Not
save.
legally, yeah, so you had to drink it again, did you?
Yeah.
Have you tried it? No.
But who's got favourite rums? Favourite rums? Anyone? Yeah?
I'm not very
I've got a
sure.
few, I've got several.
Oh, navy rum.
I'm a bit.
Sorry, you drink what?
Orca, it's a Bacardi spice rum.
Oh, the Cardi, yeah. Oh, spice. Then one thing you should put in rum.
Yeah.
More rum.
Do you ever mix it with anything?
No.
Yeah, no.
Just eat everything.
Yeah. But I drink West Indian light rums.
Okay.
But I drink expensive, aged West Indian light rums. It's like drinking single malt whiskies, 25-year-old malt whiskies.
Yeah.
Drinking the old 15, 20, 25-year-old single West Indian rums is very similar. Very similar.
I've never
Sorry, I forgot your Abby's name again. Tony, what's your favourite rum?
Generally Appleton's or Appleton's Rain Nephew.
Okay, yeah.
Rain Nephew.
My favourite, I have to say my all-time favourite is Angostura 1824. Absolutely superb rum.
I did, Mrs. bought me a couple of, well, it's a few years ago, wasn't it? It was some really old stuff.
Yeah.
It was a small
I mean, the
selection.
15, the 20 and the 25-year-old rums are really nice.
Yeah, they're really good.
I did, on the 40th anniversary of the stoppage of rum, 2010, I ranked, there were Navy Days in Portsmouth, was on the same day, it was on the 31st of July 2010. So we rang up like the Navy Days organisers and we said, a group of us would like to come down and parade in sort of funny uniforms and have a rum issue, our own rum issue, and like carry a coffin through the dockyard to commemorate the passage of rum. And they said, well, you better not drag coffins to the dockyard. We've currently got Royal Marines coming back from Afghanistan in real coffins, you know, so it wouldn't go down particularly well. Anyway, so we went down there, any minute now, we went down there and obviously not with the coffin, and we went round to the Victory and we said, can we come on board and, you know, have our top of rum up where Nelson fell on the poop deck up top? And I said, yeah, of course you can, free of charge, obviously, you know. So we went up there and we did our rubbish. We got all the Japanese tourists around, we were all taking pics. But I had real Navy rum for that. And then the president of the Chiefs Mess on there said, would you like to come down and use our mess? I said, yeah, here's your top. Favours, you know what I'm saying with favours? Yeah, here's your top. Yeah, we'll come down and help you drink all the beer in your mess now. And ever since then, every time I go to Portsmouth, I ring up the President Mess on the Victory and get an invite round to the Victory into the Chiefs Mess. Not the public areas, we've got private areas, you know. Yeah.